Hey you guys, it's Audrey with Changing Tides Energy. I am in Port Protection, Alaska, going on a walk, and I wanted to share with you some of my reflections today of my personal journey walking with grief and what that has looked like. I will share the views of the nature. I will share myself some during this walk and talk with you. I hope you find it meditative. I hope you find it relaxing, and just remembering that wherever you are on your own journey with grief, it's okay. There's no judgment. There's no expectation. There's no wrong. There's no right. There's nothing that needs to be a certain way during this journey. Accepting it as it is and holding space and grace for yourself while you are in that journey is one of the most healthy and kind things that you can do for yourself. And I haven't always understood that. I've myself felt like I should be over it, or I should be able to move on, but that's just not the case. Grief isn't linear. It's a journey that is different for everybody. So I'm going to share my experience from my perspective, and maybe it'll resonate with you. Maybe it won't. Either way, that's okay. So just a quick disclaimer. These are my two big grief events, but there's been many in my life. You don't have to experience a big loss in order to be activated by grief. Grief can also be from a perceived loss, a loss of a dream, a loss of an identity, a loss of a friendship, a loss of how you thought your life was going to be. And it doesn't have to be something big and traumatic or dramatic, but that is part of our journey too, right? Check this out. I'm just going to walk up and go check out the water tower in Port Protection. It's a pretty cool spot. I haven't been here before, but looking forward to checking out a new area while we walk and reflect. So my personal experience with grief there have some pretty intense events in my life that have happened. Just over 5 years ago, my dad, who was my best friend, my soulmate, the guy that I talked to 5 or 6 times a day. Oh my gosh, he was always there for me. Sorry, this camera angle is bothering me. Let's see if I can get it switched up. He was always there for me, and I so appreciated that. And anyway, he just one day he just literally dropped dead, and it was quite, oh my gosh, look at this. The boardwalk got completely demolished up here. Just like any sudden death or sudden change, it can really rock you. Kind of like this tree that fell down. My goodness. Crazy. Thankfully, it didn't damage the water pipe, it looks like. Anyhow, I guess we'll turn back here. But it was, I would say, easily the most traumatic event of my life. Like I said, he was my person, my angel on earth. And I had an opportunity to crack open and evolve, or crack open and constrict. So I'll share my path with that here in a minute. But I just also want to say that my brother, actually a year ago tomorrow, he took his own life. And again, another tragic and just heartbreaking, life-shifting, soul excavating experience. So I have some pretty raw experiences that maybe you relate to, maybe you don't. I hope you don't. But if you do, I hope that you find some peace in this share and peace in this journey with me. And other aspects of grief in my life have been loss of what I thought a normal family unit would be. I've ended up divorced almost 10 years ago now. And with that came a change of many structures that I thought, were what I needed in order to be okay as a mom and as a wife. And then I've had my own grief around some health journeys that I've gotten to walk, and friendships changing and shifting in careers, just different losses of identities, going from nursing to, many other things, and ultimately energy healing. Anyway, it's just been a walk. There's been a lot. So I am going to share with you a little bit more about that, but I'm going to let you enjoy this view while I talk for a few minutes. So my experience when my dad died was everything in my body just left. I had no control from any of the spaces and places. I was just could barely breathe. It was just in complete shock. And I did make my way up to the shower eventually, and I told him, you're coming with me. I don't care that you left your physical body, but your soul, you're going to be with me no matter what, always. And I'm willing to grow, and I'm willing to expand, and I'm willing to connect with you in whatever way, shape, or form. He was my person. He was my angel. And he still is. And although that was incredibly challenging to experience, and I went into a bit of survival mode for a while, dealing with his estate. Some of you might relate. A little survival mode with just staying busy, making sure everyone else was okay. So it really wasn't until 6 months after that I really faced what it meant that he wasn't there anymore, and had to really look at my life and see if I was really living in alignment with my own values, because all of a sudden my whole foundation had just been uprooted, and it really provided an opportunity for me to look at things a little bit differently. And knowing that we could just so suddenly depart this world, it became really important to me that I was living in alignment with my truth and not living for other people. So my dad's passing really changed my life in many, many, many ways. And it wasn't just that he was no longer there. It was that it changed my entire perspective on life. And I will say he showed up, and he has shown up so consistently as eagle spirit, bald eagles, just diving in, soaring over. I mean, just the most crazy moments over and over and over again. I'm a lifelong Alaskan, so I've seen my share of eagles, but I have never been guided and communicated with eagles like I have since my dad has passed away. And I still see the feather just dropping out of the sky as I'm about to take my mom and kids on a glacier cruise where I used to work in Prince William Sound in Valdez, Alaska. And, just driving and the window's open and I don't see an eagle above, but this feather just literally drops. I can put my hand out and catch it. It's just these constant reminders that he's right there with us. And yes, that's come and gone. That hasn't always been super consistent. But I will say what I want to share about this is that when he passed away, I realized that I had an opportunity to expand, like I said, or to constrict. And I did not want to close off my heart. I did not want to limit my capacity to give and receive love because of the grief and trauma. I wanted to keep my heart open. I wanted to grow through the experience, and I wanted to connect deeper and deeper and deeper. And so I was a seeker, and I was very open to whatever opportunities came. And I would just say he brought me to, I was doing counseling. I was what else was I doing? I just had other support groups and networks, and I was just being really open with people about my struggles, and I was, trying to not pretend like everything was okay. I was honoring him in my life. I was honoring him so much in my life. Anyhow, but I was brought to Reiki, which is energy healing. It's a Japanese form, but honestly, it's just one technique and of healing that's accessible. And I believe that the Reiki is very powerful. And I would say I had really enhanced experiences spiritually from that. I was able to connect with him on a deeper level. He actually came through in many sessions, and I was able to experience that spiritual connection in a different way, which was really significant for me. Look at those little water drops. It's just really beautiful to find the beauty and to open up my heart and to connect with him in such a different way. So meaningful. And I know that can be considered rare because a lot of us are afraid. We're afraid of the unknown. We're afraid of what it's like to let go. We're afraid of the pain that we might feel if we open up those doors. And I just have to say that when we open up our hearts in courage, it can really allow a deeper level of love and healing come in and clarity to come in. And with that, we can experience more peace and more serenity on this journey and on this path. So I just want to say straight up, it is a warrior's journey to be open, to look at your pain, to get curious, to check in with your suffering, and to not attach and to not identify as somebody who is suffering. But for one, I found for myself that if I judged myself for the suffering, or I claimed that this is just how I'm going to be forever, then that's what my life would be like. And I didn't want that. I wanted to show my kids something different. And that didn't mean pretending like things didn't happen. I mean, when I needed to collapse on the floor in grief, I would, and if I couldn't walk because my legs were so heavy from the pain, then that was okay. So just meeting myself where I was at and not being shy or bashful about it to those in my life that, loved and cared for me, being honest. So anyhow, the first year flew by, and it's victory. And as the years went on, I would say my relationship with him and my relationship with grief shifted. And everyone experiences it differently. I was really clear that I did not want to live in the shadow of his death. I wanted to live in the light of his life, because he was an amazing man. He shared so much goodness. And they even named a street after him in Valdez, Alaska. It's called Steve Cotter Way. And it's perfect because he really was just such a giving, caring man. I mean, at the end, to his own detriment, because he wasn't practicing that same care towards himself. But it was his journey, and, it's just the way that it goes. So we all have choices in life, and we get to live the way that we feel most aligned. So anyhow, I'm going to walk this way. I haven't been down this path before. It keeps the camera on me. Hey guys, I had a nice little visit, and then I forgot to turn the camera on when I started recording again. So this is me just jumping back in. I made it to the beach. It's beautiful here. Let me show you. And I was talking about my dad and how we all choose to live differently. And sometimes that takes years off our life, all on a path and all on a journey. That being said, I wanted to show you something down here. Look at these Christmas anemones. They're so cool. Aren't they beautiful? So I know I just said something that can be considered really controversial, especially because I'm about to talk about suicide. When it's your time, it's your time. Okay. But what about when you just decide to end it yourself? What about when you decide, oh, that's cool. What are those called again? These little guys. When you decide to take your own life because you've just had enough, or you've been suffering for too long, or, you're just experiencing too much pain and you don't have any hope. Like, what about that? Does that mean it's your time? That's the time you chose, right? Or did you choose? Or were you suffering from depression or mental health anguish? Or sometimes people take their own lives under the influence of drugs or substances. I don't believe that was my brother's story, but I know that it can be others. Besides being a survivor of traumatic loss in my immediate family, I also was a nurse for 16 years, and so I'm very aware of all the tragedies and all the loss and everything that can be experienced in this human realm. And everybody navigates those experiences differently. Everybody can come back or can have their own experience without judging others and thinking that you should be dealing with it a different way. We all handle it so differently. So I do want to say, as I mentioned earlier, tomorrow is the 1-year anniversary of my brother's death. And honestly, it's still hard for me to believe. And I've spent a lot of the year kind of in disbelief. And then, of course, like playing back everything, is there anything that I could have done different? Is there, all the mind tricks, trying to make it my responsibility? And of course, I wish I could have helped him. Like, I wished I could have helped him more. I wish he was available for more help. And, but the truth is, he was the guy who was, the helper for so many others. He was the guy who really didn't want other people to know that he was struggling. He was a coach. He was a supporter. He helped others see the light in themselves. And he wasn't able to be vulnerable. He wasn't able to share his own struggles. He wasn't able to be honest. I do have to say that at the end of his life, I know he was seeing a counselor, which was a huge step for him. And I commend him for that greatly. And I love him and I miss him so much. And I wish he could have stayed. I really, really do. But that wasn't his journey in his lifetime. So navigating grief, my walk with grief, I went into a pretty paralyzed state there for a while, as you can imagine. And I was living remote off-grid Alaska at the time. And just getting outside was hard. Doing anything felt hard. Everything felt heavy. There's a little starfish. And so, hello. And so I felt called after one trip to Anchorage that I was supposed to do this series called Coming Back to You. And it's on this channel. It's a 30-day series. It is super raw. I don't even remember like the complexities of everything that was on that channel or on that series. But I know that it was the time that I was feeling really called to like coming back into myself and my body and this earth and the ground beneath me, and not just in a way of trying to like bypass the experience, but just trying to come back alive. Because if you've experienced sudden loss or trauma, then you know that it can you can basically lose yourself. You can lose yourself. You can lose who you are. And that doesn't have to last forever. And it can be really challenging to get back to that space of feeling connected to your truth and to what makes you tick. But here's the thing, that changes after traumatic loss. And it's one of those experiences where we just have to be super graceful, gentle, and compassionate with ourselves, because nothing's ever the same. Again, when we realize the impermeability of life, we realize the fluid nature of life and how things don't stay the same. Loss can happen, tragedy can strike, and we will forever be shaped by those experiences. That series was really helpful for me because it got me back into my body, it got me back in nature, it got me back in connection. My natural expression is a sharer. I love serving in the healing realm. I love connecting and sharing those vulnerabilities, and in the essence of helping others on their journey, but also just really helping myself too. So that series was really profound for me. I was really grateful for that experience, and I invite you to check it out if you're in the new rough stages of loss or grief and are looking for a deeper connection to yourself. But with that in mind, I do want to share that the softest way for me to be on this journey is to not have expectations, to not have an idea of the way things are supposed to be, to understand that every day is going to be different, and that's okay. Some days I feel the heaviness still. Some days I'm crying or really sensitive and I just don't know why. And I'm like, oh, honey, you're still grieving. And grief can come and go, and we can be distracted from it with the excitement of life. I live remote, 4 seasons. Oh, there's a little feather. I always feel like when I see a feather, there's an angel nearby. My mama told me that, and I believe it. So that's just kind of a fun little out-of-place feather. I mean, the water will come soon and carry it away. I don't see any birds around, but it just looks like it was perfectly placed there by the angels to remind me to give them credit on this journey. Because the truth is, they're always with us, and they're always supporting us if we are open to receiving, if we are open to connecting. That's one of the magical things about the spirit realm and about the healing that we can access. And I am so forever grateful for that. And that is something that I've learned through the loss of my dad and through the loss of my brother, is that connection is there. It's available to us. They want to connect with us. Look at this rock. This is really pretty cool. I love the colors. I love how it's all compounded. Little broken pieces all put together to make this beautiful stone. This kind of feels like the journey of grief and the journey of loss in life. It's like those pieces, when we get cracked open, our hearts don't shrink, they grow back bigger. We have more capacity to love. And of course, we can let fear drive us. Trust me, I've got my share of abandonment wounds. 2 out of 4 of my family members have literally just departed this world quickly. And I had other reasons to have those woundings in my life. So we can grow back bigger, or we can grow back scared. And I invite you, if you're in a state of loss, or you've experienced loss, or somebody close to you has, just to have the most open mind and open heart to receive the messages, to receive the blessings, to connect in love, to connect in in the light of their life, to connect and share in the energy that they shared with you, that we can now share with others. It's really a powerful opportunity that I don't wish upon anybody. However, grief and loss is a natural part of life. And in our Western society, we don't really like to accept it. But the acceptance, it's a big shell, is what will set you free. It's a big one. Not saying that you have to accept it and that like you're happy about it, or that you wish it would be different. I mean, of course I wish my brother was still here for so many, 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 many reasons. And I'm really sad that he had to leave that way. And I invite you that if you're struggling with thoughts of suicide, or you're in a dark place, I invite you to reach out to somebody. I invite you, if you don't feel like you have anybody, or if you just want to talk to a professional, which I encourage you to. 811 is a national number in the US. I invite you to be open and be vulnerable. You don't have to suffer in silence. You don't have to suffer anymore. You can be set free. There's nothing that we can't come back from and heal in this lifetime. And there's nothing that warrants you leaving by your own choice. I mean, I say that, but then I think of medically assisted suicides and stuff like that. And that's different. Everyone has their own experience around when it's the right time for them to go. But it's such a delicate topic, and it's just such a personal thing. But what I do know is that depression and anxiety can override your natural reasoning. It can override your ability to discern what's a good idea and what's not. And so if you're in that state of suffering with anxiety or depression, talking to somebody about it is really helpful to get out of the fog. Sometimes we can get trapped in that fog, in that mental anguish, in that mental state. And that's where we can spiral into that void. And I speak from experience. I've been into some pretty dark places and spaces myself in this lifetime. But thankfully, I've always reached out for help. Definitely not interested in suffering in silence or suffering alone. I think there's tremendous strength in connection. There's tremendous strength in vulnerability. And we don't have to do it alone. We're never meant to. So this is my walk with grief, you guys. It's kind of like how the tide is rushing back in right now. The water returning back to the sea. It's never going to look the same. Every time the tide comes in, it creates new channels. It brings new shells, new sea life, new channels. And when it's time to return, it creates a new way in the flow, without resistance or expectation, without a plan or an agenda. I mean, yeah, it's good to have intentions. It's good to set goals. It's good to move towards something that feels good for you. However, it's also so much easier to do that when you are in the flow and in the frequency of love and in the frequency of nature's natural rhythm. So with that in mind, if you're having a down day, if you're feeling like things are just heavy and they're hard and grief has the best of you today, and that's the channel that you're in, I just want to say that's okay. That is okay. Grief is often described as love with no place to go. So just like this water rushing back into the ocean is creating a new portal, a new channel, a new little body of water right here to fill back into this wide, vast ocean out there. You too can create new channels and new portals to share that love and to share with others and to share with yourself. Love and authenticity are the two highest vibrations. Authenticity is the highest vibration, and love is the second highest vibration in this experience of life that we're having. And so, connecting with your true nature, living in the highest expression of who you are, and additionally, allowing the love to move in whatever channel or portal is going. That will help set you free on this journey. That will help set you free on this path. And I just want to say, I love my dad and I love my brother so much. And I still cry and tell my brother I'm so sorry. I wish I could have been there for him more. I wish I could have helped him more. You know, there's the moments of remorse, moments of regret. But deep within, I know that it wasn't my fault. And I know that there really wasn't anything that I could do. And I can just send him so much love and be open to the connections that are available now, which there's been quite a few. I am blessed to share energy healing with others, and I'll just say that my dad as well, but my brother in this last year has really, really connected me into some powerful experiences and moments with others. And he's still working away, helping in the spirit world, just like he was working away, helping here. So it's not the way that I would have wanted it. It's not what I thought our life was going to look like. But it's what it is. And that's my walk with grief. Acceptance, in the flow, not trying to change what is, having love and compassion, and being vulnerable and sharing the journey with others. So I really appreciate you guys tuning in. I know this is a heavy topic, one that is probably near and dear to many of your hearts. And I hope that you find peace in this message, and I hope that you find peace and remembering the authenticity and the love that you are before the experiences that darkened your spirit came into your being. Remembering that light within and allowing it to shine, expressing yourself in ways that naturally allow it to shine. It will help you. I hope this helps you. I'm sending you so much love and blessings. Thank you so much for tuning in and going on this walk with me.